Alright, so match day 2 of the UEFA Champions League is in the books. Who is looking good, who is not? Well, here are the 5 things you need to know. The 5 main matches from match day 2 in the league phase for the UCL. Let's have a look, guys. Here are the 5 games that I think are worth highlighting from this match day. And we're going to start in Istanbul, where there was a huge shock involving Galatasaray and Liverpool. The champions of Turkey and England went head-to-head, and it was the Turks who ran out winners in this one. Incredible stuff, really. And to be honest with you, Galatasaray could have won this by more than 1-0. The only goal in this one coming thanks to a Victor Osimhen penalty. Liverpool had a penalty late on that was turned down, correctly turned down. It was given on the field, but VAR reviewed it and rescinded that. Liverpool also had a shot get cleared early off the line. I think it was Ekatike putting that effort in. But yeah, Liverpool making a lot of changes for this one. And unfortunately for them, it did not pay off. They will no doubt rue this because this is a very rare defeat for Liverpool. Obviously, 2 losses in a row now. They were looking perfect. Now they're looking like they're faltering a little bit. Of course, Liverpool are still one of the heavy favourites to go through automatically, but this is a real bump in the road for them, and they're going to have to perform better next time out in match day 3. As for Galatasaray, this is very much a redemption for them because at the end of the day, they lost their first game very heavily against Frankfurt away from home. This will give them confidence of at least making a playoff spot in the Champions League when the league phase finishes. Also, on Tuesday night, we had Chelsea against Benfica. And I tell you what, Benfica really could have got something out of this one. I mean, you can watch the full press conference on our channel if you wish for both Enzo Maresca and Jose Mourinho as well. But Mourinho was saying that Benfica should have got something from this. And I find it hard to disagree. They really should have done. It was a very even match. It was Richard Rios with the only goal, an own goal, putting into his own net, did the Benfica player. But yeah, this was a really even game overall. Both sides had some really good chances. Benfica missing a hell of a lot of good opportunities. Again, you know, just a bit of clinicalness not really in there for Benfica, unfortunately for them this time. They'll do better. They'll get through to at least the playoffs if they continue to play like that. But another red card for Chelsea, and a completely needless one as well. João Pedro getting sent off in the 96th minute for a high boot. Absolutely brainless decision by the Brazilian forward there. And yeah, he's going to miss the next game in the Champions League. That probably means that Tyreek George will start up front again for the Blues. Another good match on Tuesday night was that between Bodo Glimt and Tottenham Hotspur. Of course, this is a rematch of the Europa League semi-finals from last year. Bodo Glimt playing on their plastic pitch in the Arctic Circle. It's always a difficult place to go, and both sides really did miss some big opportunities. Richarlison missing an absolute sitter early on for Tottenham. Bodo Glimt missing a penalty as well in the first half. I believe it was her. I think that's how you say his last name. He missed that, unfortunately for him. But it was 0-0 at half-time. However, by the end of it was Desmond. It was 2-2. Hauger getting a pair of goals to put Bodo Glimt 2-0 up. Fantastic for him. It seemed as though Bodo were going to get their first ever win in the Champions League after drawing their opening game of the season against Slavia Prague away from home. However, Spurs came back. The quality eventually showed for them, and in the end, this was probably a fair result. Bodo Glimt maybe edged this overall. If they scored their penalty, it's a different game. But if Richarlison scores his goal in the first half, it's also a different game too. Van de Ven getting a goal for Tottenham, and also Gunderson putting into his own net late on for that equaliser. A lot of teams will struggle here. Thomas Frank saying that a lot of teams will struggle at Bodo Glimt's home ground, and I don't disagree with that sentiment. I think it's going to be a very tough place for any team to go. Again, because it's a plastic pitch, it's not the easiest one to play on at the end of the day. But let's move to the Wednesday games now. One of the early matches was Union of Belgium against Newcastle United of England, and Newcastle managed to get their biggest ever win in the UEFA Champions League, a 4-0 victory for them, and it was fully deserved. They were really clinical. USG had plenty of chances, but they didn't take them. They're not playing in their usual home ground. They're playing in Anderlecht's home ground because their usual ground is not fit for the UEFA Champions League, unfortunately. Voltemade, well, only an idiot would bet against Voltemade, of course. He's did a fantastic job in this one, got the opening goal for Newcastle. Gordon with a pair of penalties, becoming the first Newcastle player to score more than 1 goal in a Champions League tie since Shola Amiobi back in the day. But Alan Shearer also managed that, so that's a much more positive way to look at it. Harvey Barnes got the final goal for Newcastle. Like I said, they didn't have that many opportunities, Newcastle. They were just very effective, very clinical, and they are on the board, as it were, after losing narrowly to Barcelona on the opening day. Speaking of Barcelona, they lost at home against Paris Saint-Germain. This really should have been a draw, you know. I mean, PSG were the better team. Let's just say that. PSG were the better team here, but this really should have been a draw because it was an absolutely idiotic move from Hansi Flick's side late on. They played the highest of high lines. They were almost at the halfway line. And PSG, with their players on the counter-attack, it was always going to end badly. Gonzalo Ramos consigning the Catalans to a defeat at home. Or their home away from home, as it were. This, of course, being played at the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic. The Camp Nou is still not ready, unfortunately, for Barca. PSG had loads of chances in this one. Barcelona had quite a few opportunities as well. Ferran Torres getting the only goal for Barcelona, but Mayulu, the 19-year-old, equalising just before half-time for PSG. The youngster doing a really good job there. Just found himself in loads of space. You know, Barcelona, they're a danger on the attack, but defensively, they are absolutely at 6s and 7s. They have so many holes in their back line, and unfortunately it really cost them in this one. PSG showing, even though they've lost a lot of players, even though they have a lot of players out injured and unavailable at the moment, they are still a force to be reckoned in Europe, and they have to still be one of the favourites to defend their crown this season. But yeah, those are all the Champions League games I looked out for this week, guys. Some huge results, like I said. What was your favourite type from this week, guys? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, keep it tuned for plenty more Europa content as well. We've got Europa League and Conference League action coming at you tomorrow. We're reviewing all the main games from that. And the Premier League, of course, is on this weekend too. So yeah, see you soon for much more football content here on thefootballchronicle.com. If you want to watch any of the post-match press conferences as well from any of the Champions League games for the English sides, we've got all of them on our channel as always, guys. See you soon, guys. Have a fantastic day of the world today. Have a good one.